Hey, and welcome to day 3 of 31 Days of Horror. I've got another British movie lined up. It's from director Mike Hodges, who made the original Get Carter and Flash Gordon. And this year is a supernatural horror film. I was surprised to learn that Mike Hodges had made a film in the genre. I'm talking about Black Rainbow with Rosanna Arquette and Jason Robards. I only just discovered this movie, so I've never seen it before. I'm about to check it out and let you know my thoughts. Right, okay, so I've watched the film. Wow. This movie captivated me straight away. The first few shots, immediately I could see this is the sort of filmmaking I personally strongly respond to. It's the kind of approach which I find very pleasing. It's visual without being superficial. It's a film in the genre. I would say it's a supernatural horror, but it doesn't go for cheap effects. It actually stays squarely on relationships. It's not super violent, and some people might even argue it's not a pure horror film. Maybe, maybe not. It's not too dissimilar to The Dead Zone. If you reckon that wasn't a horror film, then, you know, we could argue about that. Black Rainbow, I know I'm going to be rewatching this one. So right away I could see that this movie was going to be really amazing, and it didn't disappoint. I think this was like 85% perfection. There were one or two tiny things, like a few supporting characters weren't really explored, weren't really developed enough. So they were brought into the story and kind of left hanging. But on the whole, this film was so good. It's a story of this medium. If you've seen The Dead Zone, or if you've seen Sam Raimi's The Gift, it's that kind of a story where a person is actually burdened by their extrasensory powers, by their ability to see a little bit into the future. And here the medium is played by the young Rosanna Arquette, and she is fantastic. And she goes around from town to town. It's set in the Bible Belt in the States. And her dad is played by Jason Robards, and both actors are amazing. There are lots of scenes set in dingy, grubby, sad, depressing hotel rooms. There is a lot of that, and they look very authentic. They don't look like sets, they look like real locations. And then there are some decrepit, dilapidated small towns, the ambience going by the train. It reminded me a lot of George Romero's Martin, more on the visual level, with a lot of screen time given to sort of drive-by shots of decaying former industrial towns and some railways, and even the train carriages reminded me of Martin. This film, Black Rainbow, is from '89, so it's roughly about 10 years, some 10, 12 years after George Romero made Martin, and it looks like a lot of the same rolling stock maybe. What really impressed me about Black Rainbow is exterior shots, the beauty of natural light, and how they captured this eerie autumn feel in the exterior shots. It reminded me a little bit of even of Jean Rollins' film The Iron Rose. Not so much stylistically, just some of the exterior shots with that autumn light. I just thought this was this similar ambience. Black Rainbow reminded me of a lot of films, of a lot of good films. I think in the hands of a lesser director, it could have become something like an extended X-Files episode, with this girl being able to see into the future, which gets her into all sorts of trouble. But we have this amazing director, Mike Hodges, here. I've only seen several of his films, but each one was so different from the other. I'm really in awe of that director. I mean, Get Carter, Pulp, Black Rainbow, Flash Gordon, they're all excellent films, but they have very different traits and different approach to them. I mean, he's a versatile filmmaker, I gotta say. I watched this old Anchor Bay Blu-ray from, like, I don't know, 2005 maybe. And there was a little featurette with the director and the producer. So Black Rainbow is a British production, but with American cast and made on location in North Carolina. And there is some great authentic feel to the movie. There is also a lot of direct sound. Like you can tell they didn't do an awful lot of Foley on some of the scenes. So when you hear people walk around the rooms, you can actually hear the room ambience the way it was, the real room, not like when they do it perfect in like bigger budget films. I didn't realize that Black Rainbow was such a hybrid film. I thought, because the menu showed all those eerie moments and was set to this extremely eerie music, the score is fantastic. I thought that this was going to be more or less straight up supernatural horror, but it's less that. It's more of a, it's a character study, but it definitely has supernatural elements and it has the potential to creep you out, but it's not a straight up horror film. If we think about films like Carnival of Souls or Night Tide, are those horror films? I mean, there is not much blood in those films, there are no explicit gore, makeup effects, but they are eerie, otherworldly, creepy little numbers, and Black Rainbow is a step in that direction. There is some violence, but it's surprisingly it's gun violence, but it's not an action film, it's not a thriller. It's more of a character study. The character dynamics are amazing. I can't believe I never heard about this film, Black Rainbow. Even though it's not a pure horror, I think there is just something so compelling about this film. I know I'll be rewatching this before long, and I'd like very much. I'm not sure if there is a Blu-ray around. I'll be hunting a copy down from my own collection. It's definitely a keeper. Black Rainbow with this unusual title, and there are also some beautiful lighting effects towards the end of the movie which underscore some of the supernatural aspects. So that was where the film went a bit more expressionistic with its choice of framing and lighting, but most of the film has quite a sober look, and it really excels in exterior shots where they really successfully capture the desolation and forlorn aspects of some of those authentic North Carolina locations. Did I praise the actors enough? I mean, Rosanna Arquette, Jason Robards, they really have amazing tandem work in the film, and their the progressive sort of dissolution of their characters' relationship is something to behold. So it's a film which really straddles this fine line between genre film and pure drama. It has horror elements, thriller elements. It's very well paced, and it has a great sense of location. These are my early impressions of Black Rainbow. I wish I had done some research, but I've only just seen this film for the first time. So I'm really pleased. If you've seen the previous video, my last British movie I reviewed left me somewhat frustrated and underwhelmed, so I'm really pleased to be able to follow it up with a gem. Also a great example of what Brits can go out and do in the States. So there is this British producer and Mike Hodges, they went out there, they cast some excellent American actors, and they made this sadly underappreciated but really atmospheric and compelling movie, Black Rainbow. So that was my day 3 of 31 Days of Horror.